Hello everyone, and today we're going to be covering off all of the new sort of cards and releases that have come out here with the latest update and the newest selection box, as well as the structure deck that was released, all of which is very relevant. The structure deck is fantastic value for the price of it, but we're going to be talking about the structure deck in just a moment. In terms of the main selection box that has actually just been released, we've got support for quite a few sort of big cards, quite a lot of really powerful cards that are just coming out as part of this. None more so really than the Marincess card, which is what you're going to be seeing a lot of, but there's also some really cool Shark support, some Exceed support. You've got the Shark Abyss in here somewhere. Yeah, the Abyss Shark. So you've got Shark support, you've got Umu support, so lots of really cool water themed sort of stuff going on here, which is excellent to see. Lots of these cards even I'm relatively unfamiliar with, so it's going to be a bit of a learning experience, but we're getting a lot of buffs for a lot of decks you just did not see at all. None more so than the Marincess cards. So we're going to start there. Now, the Marincess are a deck very similar to Live Twins in that their deck is very small. It has room for 18 plus hand traps or interruption cards, tech cards, and the main deck itself is filled with your a bunch of one card starters, like a one card combo starters, as well as like tech cards. So you're going to be looking, in terms of your actual game plan, what you're trying to do is summon out one of your big link monsters here, such as the new Marincess Argonaut, or the old, I think it was Reef Princess, and you're trying to make them unaffected through the use of the Marincess Wave trap card or through the Link Monster Crystal Heart. But Marincess Wave now has become the new way of doing it because it's been made so much more consistent by the Marincess Coral Triangle. Beforehand, the Wave wasn't necessarily searchable, or if you were going to search it, it was going to sacrifice the consistency of the rest of the combo, whereas now the Coral Triangle here can actually search for your Marincess trap straight from your deck to your hand. So the Coral Triangle adds that effect there, and the Marincess Wave is a trap card. You basically get to negate one of your opponent's monsters on the field, and then for the rest of that turn, none of your Marincess monsters are affected by card effects, which is nuts. It just turns your deck in the big tower style beatdown deck, which is what it did before, but now it does it significantly more consistently. And they even have their new Argonaut, which is a more powerful boss monster. Their previous boss monster was just sort of big, didn't really have a lot of interruption in the deck, whereas now the Argonaut brings the interruption to the game here, basically by negating a spell or trap card whenever it's activated or one of its effects are activated, which of course, given that we're currently in a bit of a fusion / synchro type meta, this is going to be really powerful. You know, negate their branded fusions, negate their branded lost, their polymerizations, so you're really going to get in the way of their plays, which is fantastic. And it also special summons one of the link monsters equipped to it. If you're not sure, the Marincess field spell equips link monsters basically onto your, it's a wee bit complicated, but I will be having a deck list and everything up very soon, so if you're not sure with the mechanics of it, don't worry about it. I'll be showing it off pretty soon. So you've got your two big new link monsters, and you've also got the Marincess Spring Girl, which is basically another one card combo starter for the deck. The only thing is you need to hit a water monster off of its effect, but it's fine. Ultimately, Spring Girl is very powerful as well, just another one card starter. I mean, you can't get much more powerful than that, and considering it already had two, so that brings it up to like 3 separate one card starters. And now you've got Marincess Dive, which basically says that if you control the Marincess Battle Ocean, which is the field spell, I believe the field spell should be in the pack, I think it's a normal rarity, it is. So if you have this card, which you can either hard draw into or you can search for, the Marincess Dive has a couple of different effects. One, if you have the Battle Ocean, you get to special summon one of your Marincess monsters straight from the deck, which is insane. Of course, that is extremely powerful, being able to start, because any one of those cards you special summon from the deck, that's full combo by itself. So even if you don't open up particularly well, if you get interrupted or anything like that, being able to grab, being able to either have this in your hand, just hard draw it, or search for it off of your other Marincess link monsters, makes this card insane. But even if you don't have the Battle Ocean, you're still able to basically target a Marincess in the graveyard and special summon it. So given that they have so many effects that pitch each other to the graveyard, you're going to be very easily able to recycle effects. So at worst case scenario, this is Monster Reborn best case scenario, you're summoning any of your Marincess monsters from your deck, which is insane. It's really ridiculously powerful. And luckily as well, the structure deck has, the Salamangreat structure deck has Signet Mining, which is going to be a very key UR in the Marincess deck as well. So not only are a few of these cards, these are SRs, which is better than the Albaz release, so it's not going to be super budget heavy. And the Signet Mining being included in that Salamangreat pack is also a massive, massive relief off of a lot of people who don't already have that card. So that's really good to see. Moving on then to the Shark support. Now, when it comes to the Shark deck, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. It is a deck I've had very limited interaction with in the past. As far as I've seen in the past, it's sort of been turbo level 4 extender into things like your number 4 Stealth Kraken, which, you know, pops a bunch of cards, does a bunch of damage, summons some, you know, like Sea Stealth tokens and stuff from the, or sorry, Exceed monsters from the extra deck. It's got some crazy sort of extension and real OTK potential in it. I haven't played with it much myself, so looking at the new support with the Nash Knight and the Chaos Exceed Nash Knight, really cool throwbacks to the anime as well here with these designs. Really loving it. The sort of reworks on the Silent Honor looks really cool. So yeah, I mean, given these guys as well as some of the other sort of new extenders, the Abyss Shark is a phenomenal extender here for this deck. I'm really looking forward to giving that a try. I haven't tried it thus far, but I am going to be picking it up and hopefully having a video on it sometime soon after I've, you know, taken it, played it an awful lot, learned how to play it properly for you. But yes, it looks so cool. I've always loved Shark because Zexal was one of my favorite animes, I think. I was watching 5Ds, I eventually watched all of 5Ds, but it was really serious, and I think Zexal was like the perfect off-put to that because it was so silly. The whole way through it was a bit childish, as opposed to like the serious tones of 5Ds, and I don't know. But yes, Shark was always really cool in that series. I just love the art on these guys, just throwing back to like the final episodes of the anime. Even like having Nash in the name is really cool. But yes, the Shark ones are relatively straightforward. And then we've got the Umi support, which again, I didn't even know these cards existed, to be perfectly honest. So there's so much here that even I am going to have to pick up. I've seen some Ice Jade IDs or Cosmic Oceans or whatever they're called floating around. People have already sort of jumped on the bandwagon with those. Again, I don't know how popular or powerful these are going to be. I don't think they're going to have as much impact as maybe people would potentially like. I've never been really a fan of the Ice Jade stuff. But either way, I'm sure we'll be seeing something pop up. Even cards like, you know, the 7th Ascension and things. So cool. Just references back to the show. So yeah, that's the new selection box. In terms of what's going to be powerful, I think the most powerful thing to come out of this is for sure going to be the Marincess stuff. 100%. This is going to be a real contender. To be a tier deck. This is going to push a lot of things out of the metagame that maybe weren't there before. If you want to be stopping this deck preemptively, you need to put the Chaos Goddess into your deck. You need to play Kaijus, you need to play something, but preferably something like the Chaos Goddess would be a pretty decent counter to this, because at the very least you're going to get something out of it. You have a way to beat them, whereas, you know, it's better than having no way to beat them. So you're either going to play Kaijus, you're going to play Sphere Mode, Lava Golem, Santa Claus, the goddess of the Overworld or whatever her name is in the extra deck. But you need to play something that isn't going to try and affect these guys. You need to just straight tribute them, otherwise you've got no chance. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the Marincess stuff. Now we're going to have a look at this structure deck. Now you'll notice I've already purchased 3 of it. Very similar to what we were doing with the Dragon Maid deck. I will be having a video on this shortly on what does a full free-to-play version of this deck look like. But what I want to quickly highlight is that there's a lot of value in here. If you look back between this deck and my last Code Talker deck, you'll be seeing a lot of cards that are in here that are relatively decent value. First of all, Signet Mining, crazy good card for any deck to play Cybers. You've got Code Talkers, Salamangreats, Marincess now. I'm pretty sure no Altergeist or Spellcasters, but they're just off the top of the head, there's 3 really viable decks that you can run that absolutely love this card. Signet Mining just searches for any level 4 lower Cybers. You are getting this thing basically for free is amazing. Fantastic value. This by itself makes this deck worth it, but you've also got then the Salamangreat Gazelle, which is a phenomenal card. You've got the Salamangreat Spinny, which is a phenomenal card. The Flame Buffalo, Lady Debug, which is so versatile for any Cyberse deck. You've got all of these really powerful cards. You've got the Salamangreat Circle, you've got Salamangreat Roar. you've got most of the cards in here that you need for a full Salamangreat deck. I'm struggling to think of one. Like there's a few extra deck things, of course, you want to be changing, and then there's this guy, Decode Talker Heat Soul. I didn't know this card existed. He's really cool. Not only is he really cool in this deck, but it means that he's also another card you can play in your Code Talker deck in order to trigger your Signet Codec to search for a fire monster. So you may be tweaking our Code Talkers a little bit now that we've got a fire one that we can very easily summon. I know Power Code Talker's a thing, but he requires 3 monsters to summon, and he's garbage. This guy, you know, pay 1,000 life points, draw a card. That's pretty neat. So Decode Talker Heat Soul, really loving it, and the design is absolutely sick. You'll love to see it. So I'm going to have a video on this structure deck out, just 3 copies of this, no other cards, completely free to play, Salamangreats, and then we're going to be talking about a few of the other options. We'll be looking at Marincess, Sharks, potentially Ice Jade, depending on if it turns out to be entertaining or not. I'll have to get the verdict from other people on that one first. But yes, we've got a few really cool things lined up. The minigame's definitely going to shift. We're going to be seeing an increase. You've got the Boreal End Dragon first. I warned everyone this was going to happen. The Boreal End Dragon came out, and it was super difficult to remove, and people had to rely on either their Mirror Jade or tributing it to get around it. Now you've got the Marincess Towers, which is again very difficult to get rid of unless you're tributing it. I'm telling everyone you need to be running the Goddess. Otherwise, you're going to be having a bad time. But yes, that's pretty much it covered off. No other massive announcements right now, as far as I can recall. We'll quickly scooch on over to the notifications and we'll find out. They are introducing, of course, this new the new event. We all sort of saw it coming. We're assuming that this is like a link only event, link registration. But I mean, it's not something we didn't see coming, and they're talking just about dual links and stuff here. So yeah, that's everything for now. There's the time limit change, which is just whatever. This doesn't really matter, to be honest. It's not really that big of a deal. It's going to stop people from timer stalling you as easily, I guess, but it's not that big of a deal. So yes, let me know down below what you think about the new updates, the new cards. What decks are you looking forward to building? And if you do have these decks already, if you have TCG experience, or you just have ideas you'd like to share, you can hop into the Discord using the link below and pop into the chat and just start throwing your ideas around and just letting people know that, oh, hi guys, I've got this. Maybe you can try building the deck like this, or if you have questions on how you want to be building it going forward, just say, listen guys, I've got this idea, can you help me flesh it out? People in there are more than happy to help you, so you can hop in whenever you like, throw your ideas out, and of course you can subscribe to catch the upcoming videos on the new decks, as well as other decks that we still have to cover. This is the first time where Master Duel has been ahead of the game on content here, which is great, fair play to them, but I'm struggling to keep up, so there'll be plenty of videos coming out soon on the new stuff and some of the older sort of branded mixes and stuff we didn't get around to, like branded Dragon Maids and branded Dark Magician, things like that. So plenty of stuff to be coming out, so do subscribe to keep an eye out for all those really cool videos, and I guess I'll see you on the next one.